If I told you that investing just $5 a day could eventually grow into over $1 million completely tax-free, most people would assume it's completely impossible. But thanks to one account that every single Canadian over 18 years old has access to, it actually is possible. Today, I'll show you exactly how the math works, how long it takes, and the biggest mistakes that stop most Canadians from getting there. Most people think that to become a millionaire, you need a six-figure job, or you have to win the lottery, or you need to get extremely lucky with stocks. But in reality, it's so much simpler than this. Many Canadians don't fail because they don't earn enough. They fail because they don't actually start early enough. Of course, having a six-figure income will help and will accelerate your growth, but you can have a solid retirement on just $5 a day. And if there's anything extra that you can put in, it will help compound your growth over time a lot more than just sticking with the smallest amount possible or not investing at all. When looking at investing, time is actually the biggest asset you can have. The more time you have, the better chances you have at creating generational wealth and growing a retirement portfolio that you can actually live on. Here's why the TFSA is a secret sauce to this recipe and why taking advantage of it is the key. Although it's called a tax-free savings account, it's actually one of the best investing accounts. As the name suggests, it's completely tax-free. So you get tax-free on your growth, you have tax-free on any of your withdrawals, there's no capital gains tax, there's no taxes on your dividends, and there's no tax on any interests. So all of your investments can grow completely tax-free. The contribution room limit in a TFSA is set out by the government, and this year and last year was $7,000 for each year. But the contributions you can make actually start from when you turn 18. For example, if you're 28 years old right now, and you haven't opened a TFSA yet, if you go to open it right now, the amount of contribution room you'll have is actually 10 years because it starts from when you turn 18 all the way until now. So as an example, let's say hypothetically the government had a $5,000 contribution room per year from when you were 18 to now you're 28. This is 10 years. That means theoretically you can contribute $50,000 all at once into your TFSA, even though you just opened it. The best way to take advantage of your TFSA is by investing minimum $5 a day or $150 a month into a well-diversified broad market ETF, such as VFV or XEQT, as these are usually low risk, have low management costs, and also return pretty much the market average of 10 to 12% a year. Let's look at a few scenarios. So if you start investing just $5 a day, which is $150 a month, and we assume that there's roughly a 10% annual return on your money, in 30 years, you'll have around $305,000. In 35 years, you'll have $522,000. In 40 years, you'll have $864,000. And in 45 years, you'll have over $1.4 million. And taken, that's just $5 a day. So that's foregoing your daily Starbucks coffee. That's foregoing going out to eat twice a month. These are small things that can add up drastically over time, as you can see. Let's look at another scenario. If you can save $20 a day or $600 a month. Now, I know this might sound like a stretch, but if you can really cut back on buying coffees, eating out for lunch and dinner, or even Uber Eatsing stuff. So if you're investing $20 a day or $600 a month, after 30 years, you're gonna have $1.2 million. After 35 years, you're gonna have over $2 million. After 40 years, you're gonna have just under $3.5 million. And after 45 years, you're gonna have over $5.5 million. And I know $20 a day sounds like a lot, especially when you have expenses of rent, gas, other bills, groceries, energy costs. Especially in Canada, we can be charged a lot for these. But if you can just find small ways to cut back and add to your investment portfolio, this chart shows that you can really get ahead by just remaining consistent over the years. And that leads me into one of my biggest takeaways that I always try to implement into every single video. It's that consistency and time matters more than anything. It matters more than picking the correct stock, because if you just invest in an S&P 500 index fund, you'll be much more ahead than other people. And you have significantly less risk involved by just buying an ETF or an index fund. And it shows that just with a small investment of $5 a day, you can actually become a millionaire by the time you want to go retire. And this is a phenomenon that a lot of people think is impossible, but it really is if you're consistent and diligent over time with your investing. You might be thinking that trying to find $5 a day is extremely difficult, but in fact, it's the opposite. It's so easy to cut your spending by $5 a day, but the difficult part is allocating that $5 towards your investing instead of spending it on something else. So $5 a day might actually look like a couple coffees, some fast food lunch from McDonald's or Panda Express, any kind of subscriptions you have that you might not take advantage of fully, some impulse Amazon purchases. If you buy lottery tickets hoping to just try and make $1 million, that money can actually be used towards your investments, which can mathematically get you to $1 million instead of just hoping to be lucky. A lot of people really underestimate how these little bits of expenses add up over time. And if you just divert them to something else that's positive, such as investing and saving for your retirement, it'll have a huge impact on your life. And once you've mastered these habits of saving $5 a day, try and implement even more. So look at saving $7 a day or $10 a day. Set yourself goals. Let's say you're 20 years old and you're like, I'm starting to save $5 a day today. Let's say by age 25, you tell yourself, my goal is to save $10 a day. Perfect. Your investments are going to skyrocket even more. And if you can increase it even more, then go ahead and do it, but just be very consistent with it. So you might be wondering, if you're saving $5 a day, what should you actually be investing in? You should be investing in well-diversified broad market ETFs. This is the simplest way for people to make money, especially if you don't want to, one, put in the time for it, or two, try and learn a whole new subject. This is your one-stop shop for everything. There are many ETFs out there that track different stock markets. So you can track technology in the US, you can track the whole US market, you can track US, Canada, plus worldwide. There's so many options out there, but the few that I like is VFV, XEQT, and the typical one, VOO. All three of these provide excellent diversification across hundreds of companies, which reduce your risk significantly instead of just trying to pick out ones here and there. The biggest mistakes a lot of people make with their investing is they tell themselves, I'm going to start once I start making more money. Well, we've seen that you can actually make it by just spending $5 a day. If you make more and you can allocate more, do it. You're going to be far ahead compared to everybody else. Another mistake people make is trying to time the market. A lot of people think, oh, the market's so high right now, I'm going to wait until it comes down to invest. But many people miss that point. Although you might not like investing at all-time highs, there's data that backs up even investing at all-time highs, you're still going to be much more ahead of other people who don't invest at all. So don't wait and just be consistent investing every single paycheck that comes in. And my favorite big mistake that people make is keeping their money in a savings account. Keeping your money in the bank is one of the worst things you can do because banks pay you nothing. They make huge profits off of your money that's sitting in there, but you are left making 0% interest on it. Keep in a bank only the money you need, not all of your savings, because over time inflation will just keep eating at it, banks will pay you nothing, and you'd be much better off investing that in the stock market. Becoming a millionaire isn't about making one perfect investment throughout your lifetime. It's about building simple habits and repeating those thousands of times throughout your life, and that simple habit is just being consistent. You might get discouraged because $5 a day isn't going to change your life this year or next year, or maybe even for the next 10 years. But if you look at it in the long term, $5 a day will build your net worth over time to where you're ahead of many, many Canadians. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn a lot more about building wealth in Canada, please hit that subscribe button. Because every week I break down posting investing, personal finance, and different strategies that not only Canadians, but many people can use and implement in their life, no matter where they live.